Well, this is as far as I've gotten on the Striad chair, which isn't all that bad looking, but I know it's not right either. Um, the key thing here is that there's a big rounded edge that transitions from the back to the sides, and you can see it's somewhat interrupted by the blend for the armrest. And I think what's supposed to happen is the armrest is supposed to blend a little bit more forward of this surface so that this nice rounded fillet will not be interrupted by the armrest blend. So let me just turn on my edges here. You can see how this is sort of interrupting this nice curve here. So if we look at it from the side view, that's not too bad. But if I turn on my layout sketches, I wasn't able to get as big enough fillet in here as it's really supposed to be. This is supposed to be more like 6 inches in here. The rest follows pretty well, and the top view follows pretty well. So one of the interesting things about the chair is that up at the upper wings here, the seat back is folded forward quite a bit, but when it gets down into the armrest area, it's starting to twist backwards and is not folding forward so much. It's then after this whole blend in the armrest area occurs that this whole surface, of course, is bending forward even more now, because this is the support of the armrest. So for what it's worth, I'll show you what I've done. So this is still pretty much the same as before, but I put a little line on here because I wanted to have a cross-sectional sketch in this area. My front view has a line that's the sort of the center line of that big radius that I just showed you, and the armrest is running right into it. I think what's really supposed to happen is the armrest is supposed to stop about here, and there should be a second line coming down. That way the armrest won't blend right into that rounded back surface. So then I made a projected curve here that's a projection of this curve here and this curve here. And I made another projected curve that's a projection of this straight line here and this straight line here. I wanted to have that so I could draw an important cross section. And that's this cross section right here. Let's take a look at that. This is the seat back area. Then it's blending into the what I'll call the wings of the seat back. You can see that this is angling forward less than the top of the wings. In fact, the two are pretty much tangent to each other at this point. So then, I just made a bunch of other projected curves, like the one at this front edge here. Let's turn off all these sketches. I'm not sure what this one is for. Oh, this is the vertical leading edge of the seat area, or you might call that the arm support. And I think this was an extra copy of this projected sketch that I shouldn't have made it. Oh well. This is the bottom edge that transitions from the seat to the arm support. And this curve here is the bottom edge right here. So it's got kind of a curve that's leaning forward. If we look at it from the top, it has to have this curve in it because this represents the shape of the back in this area. And I'm not sure, this looks like a sketch that wasn't used, I'm not sure. So the first thing I did was just make a boundary sketch for the back. and a boundary of the seat, and a boundary of that upper wing, and the boundary of the arm support. Then the actual armrest, which is just a little triangle that is ending here, because, let me maneuver this around, it's ending right here because this is going to be the area where that blended zone occurs. It looks like I added a plane out here that's not doing anything. So I knitted these together. So you're starting to see the chair coming together. And I used a fill surface to create this transition from this wing to the armrest. So that's a 5-sided surface. And that's how that blend is actually working. The trouble is, I think this really should have been blending back here somewhere, not interrupting this edge. So that's the big flaw in my design here. I also had trouble making this fill surface. I had to use an option called Fix Up Boundary to get it to work. So I knitted those together, and I did a little surface sweep along that edge because I'm going to use this to trim out a wide zone so I can just build in a blended surface there. So I trim that out, hide that. So here's our trimmed out zone. I'm going to fill it the underside of the arm here. That's what gives the arm that sort of effect where it looks like it's blending down into this part of the seat. And now I've made a boundary that's going from this edge to this edge and just equal curvature or tangency all along the edges. Again, you can see how this radius is sort of influencing this area, which I don't really think should be happening. Knitted that together. Then I used a mutual trim to trim the bottom and this feature together. And filleted all of that. And just to see what it looks like, I did a mirror image there. So that's pretty close to the way a Striad looks, except for, as I keep repeating, this area here, this should look more like a nice clean radius coming through uninterrupted by the arm.